And let's go. All right, guys, this is episode 2 of the warm-up show with a dear friend of mine, Paul Charruau. How are you, Paul?
I'm very good, thank you.
Thank you for being with us today. So I'm really excited to have you on the show because you're a goalkeeper. You're now playing in third division professional football in France. And we've played together for 2 years when we were in the academy of Valenciennes. So I really want to focus on the mental aspect into a goalkeeper. What happens during a game, during training, knowing that you're number 1 or number 2. So I think there's a lot to talk about. But first, can you just introduce yourself and tell us where you started playing football and a little bit of your journey and your path to professional football?
So my name is Paul Charruau. I'm from Paris, and I started playing football when I was around 5 or 6 in the little club of my hometown, Ville d'Avray. And then at the age of 13, I entered in INF Clairefontaine, which is a young academy who I was for 3 years. And then I've been recruited by the Academy of Valenciennes, where I met you. And then I stayed there for 7 years, where I ended my academy time, and then I signed professional. And then I started playing in Division 2. And then after that, I've been transferred to Bastia in Ligue 1. And after that, I stayed there for 6 months. I've been on a loan in Paris FC. And then I was out of club for 6 months. And then I found, or probably more, the Red Star, my club for the moment, find me. And then I've been there for 3 years now. And I'm very glad to be there. And
Going well.
Yeah.
Going very well. So right now, Paul is playing for Red Star Football Club. And I just saw, I don't know if you know, it's the second oldest club in France. Did you know that?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Of course.
And so you guys now were very close to go up in the Division 2, but because of COVID-19, everything had to stop. And hopefully you guys will be back there next year. So there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about and go in between each segment. So first I want to talk about the National Institute of Football in Clairefontaine. Just so everybody know, this is a pre-academy that gathered the 20 best players in the Paris area, right? And your coach back then, Jean-Claude Lafargue, is actually my supervisor now at the French Football Academy. Can you just tell us a quick word about him? Because I think he's a great coach and a great person.
Well, so there were 3 different coaches at the time for the 3 different ages of player. And we all thought that Jean-Claude was the best one because he was a friendly one. We weren't scared of him, but we did respect him a lot. And we trained hard. It was a good time.
I know this academy, guys, is the top of the top. So after this, basically, we'll say 15 to all the 20 players signed into pro academies. And that's when you went to Valenciennes Football Club, which was a club in Ligue 1. And that's where we met because I was playing there already. And so how was being a goalkeeper in an academy? What did you feel? Because you have between 2 years difference, you have 5 or 6 goalkeepers fighting for 1 or 2 spot. So it's very difficult. I remember, guys, seeing you on the other side of the field, just really going through a lot because that coach, what was the name? Karim?
Yeah, Karim Boukrou.
Karim Boukrou. Guys, this coach was insane. I don't know if you had coach like this after we were like crazier, but he used to just yell all the time.
He was kind of crazy, but it was very, very kind at the same time. And he just wanted the best for us. And he tried to take everything he could from us, and we took everything we could from him. And this is how it works on the goalkeeper spirit, kind of. So
you guys have almost like a little team inside the team, right?
Yeah, And so, yeah, it is a little team inside the big team. And at the same time, there is competition between us because, as you said, sometimes there is two or three goalkeepers for only one team. So there is only one goalkeeper who will play.
Yeah.
So it's very different from every year, every goalkeeper you can train with, because it will totally depend on the personality of the goalkeeper. If he wants to be nice or if he wants to be a little bit nasty, you have to adapt yourself from that kind of person.
Yeah.
But the only thing that matters to me is just to work hard, and the only thing that pays work. So as long as you work, sometimes you'll have success.
Mm-hmm. So when you arrived in Valenciennes at 16 years old, did they tell you right away you will be number one?
So they told me that I would be number one for the U17 team.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, okay. I was a bit disappointed. But they did that on purpose because they wanted to see if I was going to say, well, I want to play with the U19.
Mm-hmm.
So from that, I knew that I was going to play with my own age team, the U17. But I knew that they wanted me to go for the U19. And this is how it worked all the way from my beginning in Valenciennes to the end where I left. I always had a purpose and a step a little bit higher to reach.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how they trained me. Because if you, how to say that, if you are okay with your position and you don't keep on moving forward,
Yeah.
you're going backward.
Yeah.
So
Totally agree. My question is this: did they explain to you that what they were doing it was to also build your confidence and build your mental? Did anybody really like take the time to sit down and to say, listen, you're gonna play with the U17, knowing that you should play in U19 and that's the goal you have to reach. We want to keep on pushing you to work hard at practice. Did they tell you that, or you kind of had to figure it out on your own?
it's kind of uh, different for us goalkeeper because we talk very often with our own coach, and we're very close to him because we're only maybe 4 or 5 goalkeeper training with him.
Yeah.
So Karim was a coach very open, and you could go talk with him anytime, and it would be very, um, very like franc,
It was,
honest,
yeah, it was.
very honest with you and with the situation you're in. So you could talk freely with him, but he will not always tell you what they would expect from you because you have to figure it out on your own, and you have to show it to them without them asking you to do it.
Okay. I mean, if you're there anyway, it's because you all have the same objective and the same goal is to be pro. So they kind of know. But my question was really this: is does it take time to sit down with you and to say after a bad game, like this is where you messed up, this is what you should have done? Is there, and I feel like for goalkeepers, because it's such a small community, there's a really good relationship with the coach. Because my problem is this, and this is also why I'm doing this show, is because I think that every single academy should have a mental coach to talk to the players, and it's not there. It's not there. Maybe for a few of them, I know now it's starting to be there, but at our time, it wasn't there. And for players, it's a lot different because if you remember, um, you have 3 players who signed a aspirant contract, okay, where you start making money, and then you have 18 guys who are like envious and just a little jealous of you, and this you have nobody to talk to about. You can't go talk to your coach with it. It's not this kind of relationship. But for goalkeepers, at the same time, you're all very competitive with each other, but at the same time, you also have this relationship that I think is different. So you played there for a couple years, and then you went up to a U19 and then reserve team. You signed professional. What happened when you signed? Like, obviously, a lot of pride and all of this, but what did they say on the football side? What was going to happen?
Well, I was going to be the third goalkeeper of the first team, and we were on Division 1. Um, The year before I signed professional, I was already on the professional team and I was already the third goalkeeper. So it was a smooth move up to professional contract.
The transition
I,
was easy. Yeah.
yeah, I knew already all the player on the team, all the goalkeeper also. So they told me that I was going to be third goalkeeper, and I would play with the reserve team, and they would try to make me the next first goalkeeper of Valenciennes. But for the moment, I needed to train more, to work harder, and to learn, basically.
And how did you feel when you learned this? Were you
Well,
okay with it? Were you understanding?
I knew that it was going to be like this, so I wasn't surprised that they would tell me that, especially because back at the time, Nicola Pinto was there for maybe 7 or 8 years, and he was very good.
It was a great goalie.
So
Yeah.
if you're honest, you're like, well, he's good, he's playing. That's
Mhm.
right. And so, but even though I think that at this time, I knew that maybe the step, if I was playing in Division One, would be a little bit too high for me, and so I was very happy to be able to stay in the club I was for 5 years, and then I was happy to work with great goalkeepers, and I knew that even though I would still play with the reserve team for the second year, um, I would improve my skills.
Mhm.
So I was happy about that. And at the same time, I was wondering, well, they're telling me that they want they want me to be the first goalkeeper in the next few years. So and I started the Division Two season as the second goalkeeper. And when I started this season, I wanted to play,
Mhm.
and I knew that I would be number two because there was another goalkeeper a little bit older than me with more experience. And in that kind of situation, the goalkeeper position is very important to give confidence to the team. And maybe they thought that putting a young goalkeeper
Mhm.
uh, would not make it.
That,
So I
that,
started
yeah.
with,
Sorry.
yeah,
No, keep on going. That makes kind of sense. But that second goalie was so he was that goalie that was now number one. He was the number two back then.
yeah,
Okay, so it's just like moving up the rank, which is fair.
exactly. But after maybe 4 or 5 games, the new head coach, Kazuni,
Hmm.
wasn't happy about him. And I learned from TV that the club was looking for another goalkeeper. And I wasn't aware of this. And I remember it pissed me off
Hmm.
because I thought that if the number one would not fit, then they would give me a chance to prove
Yeah.
myself. And so I had a really honest talk with the coach back at the time. And he told me right in the eye, like, okay, Paul, you're very good. You're the future of the team. But right now we're in a difficult position and we need a goalkeeper that would be able to play the whole season. And I'm not sure that you would be able to be at your top level during the whole season.
Okay.
So he told me the next game you're going to play, and that would be my first professional game ever. And he told me next game you're going to play, and if you're good, you're keeping the number two position as goalkeeper. And that what happened. I played the next game. We won. It was away in Auxerre. We haven't won there for maybe 6 months. I mean, away. We
Hmm.
didn't win an away game for 6 months. We won, and I did a pretty good game. So I kept the second position as goalkeeper. And then the goalkeeper who came was like 38, so very a lot of experience, and so it gave me um, a lot during that time. And sadly for him, during February, he got injured, and so I had the opportunity to play. And so basically from February to the end of the season, I played the whole time. So it was great.
this is also what you have to do when you're an athlete and you want to play. You cannot feel any type of emotion for whatever happens to the player who's playing in front of you, because
Exactly.
gotta take your opportunity and make the best out of it. And now you just you finished almost a full season in Division Two in
Yeah.
France, and what happens next after that?
Well, something nasty. Um, Basically, the the head coach and the president at the time told me that they were very happy about me, and that they will they will want me to sign another 2 years contract,
Mhm.
and that the next season I will start as the first position goalkeeper, as the first goalkeeper. So I was very happy about that. But then the holiday came and the preseason came and nothing happened really. And 2 weeks before the regular season starts, they recruited another goalkeeper and they told me, well, then you're going to be number two, he's going to be number one. And
Did you now looking back at it, because we can always see better when a few years
yeah,
later. How was your preseason? Did you perform? Were you good, or do you think it was?
I think that my preseason was good, but maybe not that good.
And the end of the last season that you did, were
I
you?
was It was good.
Okay.
I think because so at during February I started to play because the other goalkeeper was injured, and then maybe um, 10, 7 to 8 games before the end of the season, he replayed maybe 2 games,
Hmm.
and then the head coach decided not to let him play and to let me play,
Hmm.
and so I finished the season and I was a couple times on the best team of the week or stuff like this, and my head coach was very happy about my performance, and so I think that I think that I did a great year that year, and I wasn't surprised at the end of the season when they told me we want you to resign, and we want you to be the first goalkeeper next season.
So that was not totally justified, the fact that they bring somebody else.
Besides well, first, yeah, besides the fact that it wasn't very fair, it was not honest at all.
Yeah. And
And
this is something that surprised you when it happens at first, but now again, looking back at it, isn't it the professional world of
totally,
football? Just
it
the
is.
It is, right?
Sadly, it is 80% of the time. And when you get lucky during those 20%,
Hmm.
you find honest and kind people. And when I'm saying kind, it's not soft people, it's hard people. But you can be hard and just tell the truth,
And still
you
be
know?
on. Yeah, totally. Because that's what happens. Because I know you're more about the rest. Then you're going to Bastia.
Yeah.
So this is a Division Two team. No, they were in League One
Season
actually.
one.
They were in
Yeah.
League One, and kind of the same thing happens again.
Yeah. So they recruited me saying that I was going to be number two. And at the time, I was thinking, well, Um, if I have to be number two, I would rather be number two in Division One than in Division Two.
Hmm.
So I went to Bastia, and I realized a couple weeks after I arrived that we we were going to be uh, two number two goalkeepers.
Okay.
But when I arrived, the other goalkeeper was injured, and this is why they recruited me very fast at the time. But then when he came back from his injured, they told me, well, then you're going to be 2 games with us, with the professional team, and 2 games with the reserve team. And same thing. I was like, you could have told me.
Yeah. This is yeah, this is sad to hear, but it's also, as long as when there's money and results are very important, this kind of thing are very very familiar to me, because no, all the I mean all the professional players told me about it, and I'm not surprised to hear that anymore. And coming for a goalkeeper, it might be even more often than for a normal player because you cannot switch with the, you can have a player who can play different positions on the field. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Before a goalkeeper, you either have to recruit or you have to get somebody from the youth that they don't do that much. The professional world might be not as good as it seems from the outside.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be like
No,
some complaints or stuff like that. It's just facts, and you just learn the hard way sometimes how it can be. Even though during years and years, older people will tell you this is how it works, blah blah blah. But you're young, you think you're different, and things going to be different for you, but it isn't sometimes. So it makes you tougher, I think, and it's good because you have to be in this world if you want to succeed.
and this is also where the mental toughness is entering into play, because if you could have had two options and just said, all right, I'm done with this, and that's what you almost said, because I remember you came to New York about that time when you were in between, and,
Yeah.
and we talked about you going back into studying and stopping your career after playing almost a full season in professional in France, playing D1, and so now we're here. You're thinking about stopping. You actually go back to school, to
Yeah.
do online school, and you go back to Paris, where you're from. You have your family around. You start playing to Paris FC, which is fourth or fifth division, and now
It was third division at the time, and
third.
now they are in second division.
And then you just signed for Red Star Football Club, and it's going pretty well. Again, we've talked about it in the beginning. You were not number one, but you stay strong and you kept on going, and you finished number one.
Exactly, because it was tough to be second goalkeeper in a Division 1 team, and then I played one game with the first Division 1 team, and then 6 months later I was out of job.
Mm-hmm. You were thinking about actually just stopping your career and just going into school. What made you take the decision of trying again one more time and playing at a lower level? And was it the love of the game? Was it that the fact that you thought you were too young? Was it?
It was a good phone call at the right time from the president of the Red Star, because I was at the time out of club for 6 months, and I thought that there is the transfer window during January, and then if I didn't find a club at that time, I would have tried to find another one during July or August.
Mm-hmm.
But if I didn't succeed to find one during July or August, I think that I would have stopped and just focus on what would be my next career after football.
So you gave yourself an extra 6 months of time, and then you were like, that's now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I've been lucky because I got an opportunity. And when you're that close from stopping everything, the one thing you want to do since you're 5, and then you get a chance to do it,
Yeah.
it makes you way more hungry than before.
Especially because after all those years you spent on the field, and like I've seen you guys train, goalkeepers training is something, and it's difficult. It's, like I say, it's almost another sport. You guys are there, and I think it might be even more difficult to become a professional goalkeeper, because obviously you only have one spot than the player. Sorry. And something that we didn't talk about, and I just want to talk just briefly, because I know we have a lot of young players watching. You actually a world champion.
Yes, I am.
So you were, was it U20?
U20 during 2013.
Yeah. So
It
tell us
was
about that World Cup, because obviously Paul is French, and tell us who was in that team and who those guys were.
An all-star team, as you could say.
Yeah.
So on the goalkeeper was Alphonse Areola.
So you were number 2. You were behind Areola.
Yeah, and there was a third goalkeeper, Maxime Dupé, who was playing in Nantes, actually. And there was Alphonse Areola, who was playing in Real Madrid. So in defense, we had Kurt Zouma,
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Samuel Umtiti, Barcelone. Lucas Digne, Barcelone, then Everton now. The midfield was crazy. We had Jordan Verretou
Yeah.
à la Roma.
Roma.
Geoffrey Kondogbia. Paul Pogba. Mario Lemina. And in offense, we had Yaya Sanogo, who was in Arsenal at the time. We had Florian Thauvin in Marseille now. We had Alexis Bossetti in El Paso now, but he was in Nice at the time. We had Jean-Christophe Baïbec, who was playing for Paris Saint-Germain.
So you have how many World Cup actual, like 2018 World Cup? Umtiti?
There's Umtiti, Areola,
Pogba?
Pogba,
Thauvin.
and Thauvin. Yeah.
Was Zuma there too? No, Zuma wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there. No.
Wow.
And actually, Zuma was playing with us, but he's 1 year younger than us.
Oh, okay.
And we had also Christopher Julien,
Yeah.
a very old defender who was playing with the Celtic now.
Yeah. I remember I played against him when he was in Auxerre.
Yeah.
When we played at the tournament, what was it, Montaigu tournament?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Wow, that was a team. Okay, so I think we have a better understanding of what it takes to go there and to make it pro as a goalkeeper and all the ups and downs that come with it, as well as the professional world. So to finish the interview, Paul, I always ask a couple of questions. Try to answer quick, okay?
All right.
So question number one, what is your best moment on the football field?
Well, the World Cup.
World Cup,
World Cup.
World
Yeah.
Cup?
And the whole World Cup. I mean, even the months before, when you kind of get ready with the team, and then the trip, it was in Turkey, and then the whole adventure.
Yeah. What was the worst moment in football? It doesn't have to be on the field. It could be outside the field as well. What was the worst thing that mentally really, really hurt you?
Well, I think when in Valenciennes, I had to leave because it was too difficult to me to make place for myself, and the president changed, and it was quite a hard time there.
The whole club at the turnover.
Yeah.
It was a bit weird. For 7 years you played there? 7 years?
Yeah, 7 years, almost 8.
And last thing, what is the only thing or your favorite thing that football brought to you that nothing else could have done?
Well, I guess I'm the luckiest man on earth because I'm playing football and this is my job.
So just as of now, just being able to live and play your passion.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the right, not the right answer, but that's the answer that you should look for if you're a young player and you're trying to play, because if like nothing can beat the passion that you have, and if you keep that passion to play and whatever it leads you, I think you'll get a lot. You get a lot out of it. Listen, Paul, that was great. Thank you so much. This is the end. If you have a last word to say to the audience, to all the young players or coaches or parents who are watching the show, if not,
well, keep on playing.
Keep on playing, guys. That's it. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Paul, merci beaucoup.
Je t'en prie.